All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this version of the Filecoin Retrieval Markets demo days. It is September 15th, 2021. We currently have 3 demos lined up for today's session. Before I announce them, please remember to, if you have any questions, to please put those in the Slack channel. That way, anyone who's unable to view this live will be able to go back in and take a look at the Filecoin Retrieval Market Slack channel for the questions and be able to see those answers asynchronously. Also, quick reminder, this will be uploaded to YouTube and you can see all of our previous demo days there as well. Quick rundown, we're gonna have 3 demos today. Looks like Ken Labs is gonna be doing one about IPFS indexing. FILSwan will be doing one as well. And then finally, the Protocol Labs Datasystems Team will be rounding out with our 3rd demo for the day. So with that, I'm gonna give it to Ken Labs. You can feel free to start sharing your screen and you can start your demo first.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to do the demo on behalf of Ken Labs. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is William from Ken Labs. Let me share my slides here. Okay. Also, I just leave it as is. So this is the demo for IPFS indexing. It's a follow-up with the previous development. So if you see from the agenda today, I'm going to show you how we integrate our index node with the IPFS so that the IPFS node will look for the provider from the index node if it's configured with priority. If it fails to find something, they will move on the existing logic in the IPFS node. And secondly, I'm going to show you the full text indexing on specific file types, including PDF, HTML, and plain text file. In this case, so I can say that we are not going to index, for example, video, audio files, those files. So currently we are supporting these file types. And at last, I'm going to briefly talk about the next step. Okay, so this is the provider lookup. We have deployed our change to our host. So if I go to the command line interface, I'll show you a couple of commands. Firstly, I'm going to add a text file. So this is a plain text file I just created before this demo. So let me add it to the IPFS node. Also, I can show you the content here. Okay, this is just before demo. And if I go to my local console, you can see I did some experiment here. And if I copy the set and apply it here, you can see it showed me that just before demo. This is from the text file I just added. And if you see here, and this is how it's trying to fetch the peer ID from the index node, because we don't have a reliable way to present you how it's working internally. So I can also show you the log. Alternatively, or not alternatively, besides the plain text file, the PDF and the HTML files are also following the same process. Okay, so this is the, how can I remove this bar here? Okay. Secondly, so let's see the full text indexing. I prepared a couple of files. So firstly, it's a PDF. I'm going to add this PDF file to the node. Okay, it's not huge. So if I search here and collection, okay, it's already added here. So it's indexed, and I go to the time rows search engine here. You can see this file, the handbook. So if I search on keyword like just, it should show me the PDF here. So if I try some keyword like young, hopefully it will also show up here. Yeah, so this is because the PDF content has the keyword young. Also, besides this PDF file, these two files also have the same keyword. So it's listed here. So this is a PDF, and the last thing is the HTML. So actually this file I have already added to the node. So I plan to just save this file, not this file. I plan to do it here at the wrong time, so I can quickly build a HTML file from the command line. HTML. So I'm going to add it in the same way to the node. Yeah. So this is how I add it. So if I search this new set from the interface, hopefully I should be able to see it here. Yeah, it's indexed. And this is the peer ID of the host I'm running. So by file name, I can search. I can do it here. Hello. Yeah, so this is the file I just added. So these file types, plain text, HTML, and PDF can be indexed to our indexer node. So these are the two things or the features we have done. In the next step, we are going to continue the development. One thing we failed to finish in past 2 weeks is the pop-up mechanism. So we have some bug fixing during the 2 weeks, so we didn't make it. And the other thing is the proto buffer serialization, as well as the monitoring on DHT and the indexer node. At the same time, we are also looking for more data sources to index. So if anybody or any team has a resource or the IPFS resources that can be indexed and interested in our indexer node, feel free to reach out to us so we can also integrate and try to index your data. Last, I want to thank Ben and Xiaohua Zhang, who joined us very recently for the effort to the development and make this demo happen. Yeah, that's the demo for today. I think as usual, the QA will go to the Slack. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. It looks like there is a question or two in the Slack for you to take a look at after we're done here. But great presentation. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Charles, who's going to be doing a demo for FILSwan. So if you could allow him to share his slides, that would be great. There we go. Perfect. And then Charles, if you want to start sharing your slides, you're up.
Yeah. So today, like we don't really have slides. We just have about a 1 minute video to show what the web development recently. So recently, like what we have done is after we build the bridge from the S3 to Filecoin. So now we move it to one more steps is we get a lot of requests for people wanted to download from the local FS3 storage through the IPFS to another location, basically like so they can doing like cross different geolocations transfer instead of using NGX or something or building proxy based on the FS3. We are doing it push it to the IPFS, then you can send in the backup the files from IPFS, and also you can directly send in those files to the Filecoin network as well. Yeah. Yeah, first, like this is a local instance we're running on the modified miner instance. So you can send in a task offline DLs through the network. So after sending network, it will give you the success and all the task with all the information included. Then the DL will send into the Filecoin network. At this time, people will want to download the car file from the IPFS. Then they can do the offline import from IPFS instead of directly sending from other files like NGX. So we get the IPRD hash code here, so we can be able to download it from the terminal. You can use wget or whatever to download this car file. And at the same time, you can get compared with the original car file. So then you have two car file matches, which means that it's consistency. Then, like as long as it reaches to IPFS, so another company or institutions in a different geolocations, they can get the car file from IPFS start import actions. Then that's basically pretty much a very short video about what we have done. So this is one more steps moving from the FS3 to the IPFS to Filecoin network. Yeah, thank you everyone.
All right, thank you so much. And then it looks like to wrap up, we have the protocol Labs Datasystems Team. Really quickly, before we get started with that one, I do want to remind everybody that these are every 2 weeks. So the next Filecoin Retrieval Markets Demo Day will be September 29th at the same time. You can take a look at your calendars. It should be there, and I'll be your host then as well. So with that, we're going to have the Protocol Labs Datasystems Team demoing their project indexing nodes right now. I'll let you take it from here.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen here. Let's just share the full screen. Okay. So I have a couple rather boring looking windows here. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk through what I'm doing. I have a indexer running, and I have a simple client to that indexer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how a provider can be registered, how we can see the registered providers, how we can index some basic content and then query for that basic content. And then we'll see if we can do a demo of the advertisement and ingest protocol. So first things first, let's go ahead and see this is the window where I should be able to see content. Let's just clear this out so you can see new messages more clearly. All right, so not so interesting yet. Let me go ahead and run the client. I have a few commands available. Let's go ahead and register first off, so we can register ourselves as a provider. And, oops, wrong window. If we look over here, we can see that our indexer did go ahead and receive the registration, and now it knows that this node here that I'm running the client on is now a provider, and now it's allowed to go ahead and send content to be indexed. And I'll talk more about what registration means and how the advertisement in the context of the advertisement protocol in just a minute. So let's go ahead and, now that we've registered ourselves, let's go ahead and index some basic content. I'm just going to, let's just do, sorry, I want to index, let's go ahead and just index this. So I've indexed some content for the CID, this QM ends with LB-CID, and I've given it some metadata. Metadata is just some scratch data that is useful to the provider, and that's useful for when the client goes and retrieves it from the provider. So I've indexed this content. Let's go ahead and find it. So if I find this, let's not cut and paste everything in my history. There we go. Let's go ahead and find that. And here we go. And so we get the response back. So for this multi-hash, well, in this case, the multi-hash is the same as a CID of V0. I can see that I get some data back. I've gotten it both for the provider I registered for myself, but I've also gotten it from some other providers who I've previously indexed content the same CID for. So now we can see that this particular CID, or rather multi-hash, indexes the indexes the same data that's provided by different providers. And in this case, these two providers provide the same data, but with different metadata. And in this case, this provider here provides it with the same metadata. It happens to be as another provider, but it's showing it has a different provider. So we can index different pieces of information from the same provider, or we can index information from different providers. That's what we're showing here. And here's information for the different providers. So when the client gets this response, they can say, okay, now I need to retrieve the actual data from the provider. And here's the multi-address for the provider and for the other one. So they can choose by whatever means they want to go to one of those providers and see who can provide them that data. I was going to show you, I believe, want to list the providers we have. Let's go ahead and so we can see that we have these two providers that are registered. I was going to show you that previously. Okay, so that's the very, very basic client interface. We also have an advertisement protocol. We just did a lot of updates to this morning. So while I can connect over libTDV and pass advertisements, I'm not sure that I can show yet that that the advertisement and ingest is happening. So let's see, I think I need to share this one. Okay. And we see that, I don't know if we can see the new window I just brought in. So I have the reference provider running in this window. I'm just going to import a car file. And then I can go ahead and connect to the provider and pass the advertisement. So I don't actually have debugging. So it does show that we connected to the peer. And if I had the logging set up for this demo properly, I would have been able to see that it received an advertisement and was able to then go ahead and ask the reference provider for any of the content that it didn't have already. And I believe it also has the content already, so it's not going to go ahead and ask it again. So let me talk through what I wanted to what this is should have demonstrated. So what the advertisement protocol does is this is where a provider can advertise over libp2p that it has some new content to ingest. The reference provider running here is what actually sends that advertisement over to the indexer. The indexer receives that, checks to see if it already has ingested that content, and if it has not, it calls back to at some time later, depending on its own internal scheduling, calls back to the provider and says, okay, now give me the content, and it walks back through receiving all of the content until it has received everything up to the latest advertisement, either from where it's last received it or from the beginning of history. So this advertisement protocol is you're able to go and update index without having to fetch the entire thing. In other words, it's going to send here's a new advertisement. Here are the new things to fetch, and if an advertisement is missed, the next one that the indexer gets it'll see that it doesn't have the previous one. We'll ask for the previous one. We'll ask for the previous one until it until it gets the content for an advertisement that it's already received. So with these two types of things, we can either write simple clients or write the much more fully functional ingest and advertise based clients. And then we can always get the indexed content back using a find query that any clients can go and search for either single multi-hashes or search for batches of multi-hashes and get all the answers back to who has what content that they're looking for. So that concludes the demo. Sorry it wasn't too flashy on screen, but I would certainly like to answer any questions that you might have.
Just checking the Slack channel. I don't see any questions in there for you at the moment, Andrew. But if anyone does have questions about this demo and they think about them later on, feel free to drop them in the Slack channel. That way they can be answered asynchronously. With that, I think that wraps up today's demo day.
Cool. Thanks for the demo, Andrew. That was, yeah, it's good to see that we're making progress, and it's good to start getting this out there so that people can see the flow that we're imagining this stuff going through. So.
All right. I want to thank everybody again for coming today. Quick reminder, these are every 2 weeks. So the next one will be September 29th. Please check the sign up Slack thread in the next couple of weeks. For the next one, I'll be posting that there. And also, if anyone has any questions about any of this video or any of our previous demos that you can find on YouTube, please direct that to the Slack channel Retrieval Markets under the Filecoin Slack channel itself. Thank you again and have a great day.